It's Movie Time is produced by John DeSando. Listen to shows and read reviews online at wcve.org.
I'm John DeSando.
And I'm Mary Urea.
And this is Movie Time.
Grab the popcorn.
Now, Mary, all right, we have a movie today called The Hand of God. And so, typically Italian, it's very ornate. I'm wondering about that title. You know, what is that?
Well, I thought it was about football because I knew that the very famous World Cup goal by Diego Maradona was called The Hand of God.
Yes.
And he does play a role in this film
Yep.
as a character, but The Hand of God is really more about fate in life.
Sure. And I think some people would consider the Sistine Chapel the two.
Oh, God reaching out
Yes,
to touch
reaching
the
out, yeah.
fingers of
But,
man.
yeah, and there are some poets who have used it, so it's right. But I think it's definitely Diego, for sure anyway. And whatever that, you people, the soccer people, the football people would know what it means. Somehow, 2 years after he joined
The Naples Football
the Naples,
Club.
he I think he went back to Argentina or something, where he made the goal for Argentina.
Yeah, he was playing in the World Cup for Argentina, and on review that we have now, it's clear that there was a handball involved. He actually touched the ball, but he claims he claimed at the time that it was the hand of God, not his hand. And he did score the winning goal.
So you can't score a goal with your hand?
You're not allowed to touch the
Right.
ball with
You're
your
right.
hands at all in soccer.
So they didn't have an image of that, so or they don't do that.
Well, they didn't have replay back in 1986,
okay,
and,
yeah.
and I don't even know if you know, FIFA and World Cup and the others use any type of replay at all, like we see now, and you know, especially football. But
anyway, it does play a part. There's something magical about this autobiography by the writer-director Paolo Sorrentino. And this is his Amarcord, this is his reflection, imaginative reflection. So you got a little bit of that magical realism in here.
you do. He's the Paolo Sorrentino, who you referred to, is in his early 50s now, and took time during the pandemic to really reflect on his life. There are events in this that are true to his life, and he uses the character of Fabietto Schiza as the awkward, introverted teenager.
Timothy Chalamet type.
Yes, very eerily doppelganger-ish
I know it.
appearance. But he uses him as him in this telling of his youth and coming of age story. It's set in his hometown of Naples. The opening shot is
a beauty.
Is so beautiful. You just want to move to Naples.
It almost seems like it was a mandate for any director. They'll take it out in the Gulf and come in.
Oh.
But I'll tell you, I've not been to Naples, and you bet it's on my list.
Well, you bet it's on my list too, because I have been in Italy. I've spent about 4 weeks of my life there.
Okay.
About a week in Rome, which is where Sorrentino is now based. And this is such a postcard to Naples. The entire film was shot on location in his hometown. The richest of the colors, the artistry of the shots, and how
the architecture.
the architecture.
I mean, it's crumbling, but it's beautiful.
It's beautiful, and they recreated a lot of the mid-1980s feel, especially as it relates to Maradona coming to Naples. And although they didn't win the first year he was there, they did end up winning the Italian championship the next year. And how the fans react to that, and how it's shot. Having been in France when they won the World Cup, and having been in Rome when they were playing one of their rivals,
Good for you.
It is, for me, it brought back a lot of memories of those times of just being stunned at how the entire community comes out to celebrate these victories in a way that, for those of us in Central Ohio, Ohio State fans around campus come out to
Yeah,
celebrate
good
big
point.
victories,
Yeah.
but not entire towns and entire communities
Yes.
just immediately taking to the streets and gathering in the town squares to celebrate. And
And
they
I love
show
how
that
they
here.
just break out in applause every time the home team scores.
Yes.
And it doesn't make any difference where they are. Now, there, for my Italian heritage and half of my side, a lot of the exuberance of Italians is here in the film. And particularly eating. Food is always very important.
Yeah, there's a lovely al fresco dining scene
Oh,
with
yes.
the Schiza family and extended family. It's beautiful in how it's sun drenched, and the food and the vines hanging over the table, the trees. I mean, it's just gorgeous. But then it's also one of the most humorous scenes in the film, because he does portray through his awkward teenage eyes just how crazy and lovable and dysfunctional his family was, with incredible characters.
Oh yeah, and the horny teenager motif. and you have the voluptuous aunt,
Yes.
Patrizia,
Yes.
who I really like
And
in
well,
this
of course
film.
you would.
I guess I would. I mean, he does feature her figure.
Yes.
You know, in a way that it's really magnificent in its own way. Starting for her wearing that white,
Very
revealing
flimsy,
piece, yeah.
flimsy white dress in the opening scene that actually turns out to have a greater poignancy and less titillation.
Yeah.
As it's explained later on in the film.
Yeah, yeah, and her relationship with her husband, her desire to have a child, the intervention of the magic. They had what the
little monk.
I love the little monk. I know.
Which actually, true to the filmmaker's heritage in Italy, there is mysticism and folklore throughout Italy, and so to have that portrayed in the film, both in the opening scene with Aunt Patrizia and the little monk, there's also a reference to the little monk at the end of the film.
Yes, so I love that. I love the images. I like the fact that the gentleman who first approaches her in that opening shot, once they make land, is San Gennaro, who's their patron
saint of Napoli.
I know. I mean, Sorrentino has no problem bringing in this magical stuff. And because it is a part of their tradition, I love it. And he has no problem bringing in that elephant of filmmaking in Italy, Fellini.
Yes, and this is very much, I think, an homage to Fellini's influence as well as Capuano's influence on Sorrentino. And he openly references that.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Fellini's early 1970s pick, Amicord, which is Fellini's reflection on his coming of age. So this is very much Sorrentino's tribute to two of the most influential filmmakers, to him to become a filmmaker.
A couple of things that reservations I have about the film. I love the films, and it's just the kind that I would love, mixing that reality with that magic. Is first of all, I would have liked to have, so to speak, seen more of Aunt Patrizia.
Well, of course you would.
So to speak. I think there's...
You see a lot of her in this film,
You
just to let you know.
And I realize he has her institutionalized as they go along and all that. But I would have liked... I just thought she was a fascinating character. I didn't want to see more of that mozzarella-eating aunt, or whoever she was.
The crazy grandmother type person, yeah.
And also, when he loses his virginity, when Fabio loses his virginity, what an interesting scene.
It's a very interesting scene. It's unexpected.
Wow.
I think. For a moment, I was really uncomfortable.
Oh, I was too.
Watching it.
I was
but
very
then
much
as I got further away from the scene and thought about the context of the film, and he has a conversation with his father about, needing to get that first time out of your way. I appreciated the impact of the scene and the impact of why it happened the way it did. So I had more appreciation for it, but typical of Sorrentino, having not seen all of his films, but some of them, there are surprising and disturbing scenes often in his films.
Yeah, yeah. This is less wacky than I think some of his has been, if you consider. Now, this one, the scene we're talking about, when he loses his virginity, is to me an extreme example of intergenerationalism.
Yes, it is an extreme example. And typically he actually uses his male protagonists a lot in that role. The actor who plays the father in this has been in 5 or 6 of Sorrentino's films and often is his protagonist. And he has had several intergenerational type things, but even with a couple of his English creations, one of which was called Youth, starring Michael Caine. Michael Caine's character interacts with younger characters, and sometimes not even seen on screen, to help bring him forward into not wasting his life now that he's older. And in this case, he's looking at the other end of life with this coming of age story.
Well, Mary, I think people are going to have to go to Backtalk to get more of this because we're running out of time.
We are.
And I want to hear what you would have to say to our audience about this film.
Well, first of all, I want to share that this is the official submission for Italy for the Best Foreign Language Film at the Academy Awards. I think it's a worthy